Tonight on CTV News at 6, Alberta bucks coming soon.
Should be a hell of a lot more, but yeah, I'll take $100.
Danielle Smith's gift to most Albertans after a spring of lucrative oil sales.
There is a difference between what's good economics and what's good politics.
Also, several Alberta First Nations calling for a treason investigation over the upcoming referendum.
I would ask the treaty chiefs to check themselves.
And teens charged.
These are serious crimes. You will be held accountable.
Accused of using AI to make sexualized images of their classmates.
It is very predatory in nature to do something like this, and you'll be held accountable even if you're a kid yourself.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms mixed with occasional sunny breaks. That's been the pattern for the past couple of days, and that'll be the pattern for the next day or two as well.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. The UCP government is cutting checks to help many Albertans pay their bills. Calling it an affordability measure, the province will give most adults $100 this summer instead of removing the provincial fuel tax. For more on the rebate and reaction, we're joined now by Jeremy Thompson. Jeremy, this is not exactly Ralph bucks.
Yeah, Jeff, many Albertans will remember that $400 check that came to be known as Ralph bucks from the mid-2000s. Premier Smith says this rebate isn't really the same thing, so rather than something like Danny dollars, Albertans should instead consider a legally mandated energy rebate.
All across our province, families are feeling the pressure of rising costs.
Premier Danielle Smith says gas prices are a major part of that pressure, so her government is offering adult Albertans a $100 energy rebate to ease the pain.
Albertans deserve relief and the freedom to use the relief where and when it matters the most for their families.
20 years ago, the Alberta government sent every Albertan man, woman, and child a $400 check after posting multiple oil-fueled surpluses.
I was so excited. I jumped back in the car with my kids and I said, look what we got, let's go shopping.
So the idea of everybody running to the mailbox and getting like a check from Uncle Ralph was a highly attractive idea for a politician.
Moshe Lander was the government's senior economist at the time. He says he advised Premier Klein against issuing so-called Ralph bucks.
There is a difference between what's good economics and what's good politics.
He believes Premier Smith is also motivated by politics. A recent poll by Angus Reid found her approval rating hit an all-time low last quarter as she navigates separatist sentiment and a looming fall referendum.
Now even they seem to have pulled the knives on her, and so she's getting pinned in. So how do we satisfy everybody? Well, let's just give them a bunch of money then and hope that this is buying popularity.
Premier Smith says the energy rebate is a matter of provincial law that requires relief for Albertans if oil prices stay above $90 a barrel for long enough, which happened in part because of the war in Iran.
The amount was based on the amount that we would generate in a quarter from the fuel taxes. So we knew what the dollar figure amount was, and we just had to figure out the best way to get it into the hands of Albertans.
Meanwhile, the opposition NDP says it supports putting money in the pockets of Albertans, but not using one-time payments.
Economists will tell you this kind of money, if it's not part of a bigger strategy, can be inflationary. It can lead to, ironically, higher cost of living.
Finance Minister Jason Nixon admits injecting roughly $350 million into Alberta's economy has consequences.
There will be an inflationary impact on this. One of the things that the Department of Finance had to look at when we looked at this option was to make sure we weren't creating too much inflation.
So how do you actually get this money? Well, the provincial website will have a portal where you can sign up for your $100 between July 1st and September 30th. If you pay taxes and are an Alberta resident, you are eligible, provided your household income is less than $225,000 per year. Unlike Ralph bucks, there will be no checks in the mail, likely just a direct deposit through the Canadian Revenue Agency. Jeff?
All right, Jeremy. Thank you. Jeremy Thompson live for us tonight. Now, Edmontonians we spoke with this afternoon say the extra cash is welcome. Here's Nermanisa.
The Alberta government says that this $100 will go to help people with the high cost of living, whether that be gas or groceries. Some people say that $100 is better than nothing, while others say it does not go far enough.
$100 mean nothing.
For Ron St. Dennis, $100 won't put a dent in his fuel expenses. He says he spends $2,000 a month on gas to fill up his cube van.
It's a joke to me. Lots of people can't afford their bloody gas.
Others at this West End gas station say $100 is potentially a week's worth of gas.
Considering prices over the last few months, 5 to 1,000 would be more realistic. That's just like, here you go. It's not really doing anything for you, no.
I spend about $120 a week, so the $100 is going to help for this next week, I think.
At this West End Walmart, shoppers here say the money will be put towards fuel or groceries.
I like free money. This truck takes a lot of gas and it burns a lot of gas. So with the prices the way they are, it's almost unaffordable to drive a truck like this these days.
Gas tax really probably would be better, but if we're kind of dealing with nothing or this, at least it's something.
I teach economics, and the most efficient way to actually get money in people's pockets is just give them money directly.
For the money they waste on other things, they could turn around and raise people's money.
It's not even going to cover my shopping bill. Yeah, but it's better than nothing.
While reaction is mixed, these Edmontonians say reducing everyday expenses is key at this time. Nara Manisa, CTV News, Edmonton.
Several Alberta First Nations are calling for a treason investigation into Premier Danielle Smith and the UCP over the upcoming referendum. The Assembly of Treaty Chiefs of Treaty 6, 7, and 8 have unanimously passed a resolution. They're calling for the RCMP and the federal and provincial Auditor Generals to investigate. The group says calling a referendum related to Alberta's separation risks Canadian sovereignty and the treaty relationship. It also says the UCP government failed to take action when a separatist group obtained a list of electors. Smith says the call for an investigation is, quote, disgraceful.
I would ask the treaty chiefs to check themselves because we have a very collaborative relationship between our government and our ministers. I want that to continue. But this kind of overwrought language has no place in a democracy.
The Assembly says an investigation is necessary as part of the RCMP and Crown's commitments to the safety and peace of treaty nations. The RCMP says it is reviewing the call for an investigation and cannot comment further. The Alberta Auditor General's office says it does not comment publicly on requests. We are waiting for a response from the federal office. The Premier says a coal mining question will not be added to the October referendum. Elections Alberta set June 1st as the deadline for any additions. Signatures are still being verified, and the Premier says this particular citizen initiative petition is complicated. Smith says private property rights need to be considered, plus a previous referendum result supporting the Grassy Mountain mine. It will be up to a legislative committee to determine the path forward. That won't be formed until this fall. Two 14-year-old boys in Edmonton have been charged for allegedly using artificial intelligence to make sexualized images of their classmates. Police say the number of victims could be in the double digits. As Curtis Goodrum reports, police want kids to know sharing illegal images, real or AI, has consequences.
These are serious crimes. You will be held accountable.
Police say they're dealing with a new kind of crime popping up across Alberta, involving artificial intelligence. Following a similar case in Calgary, an investigation is now underway in Edmonton. That's where police say pictures of girls obtained without permission were used to create new images.
Several students brought forth complaints to a teacher about pictures that had been altered sexually with the use of AI.
The investigation started in March after the teacher reported it to the police. The two 14-year-old boys are now facing charges of possessing and distributing child exploitation material. Police say they expect more victims to come forward.
We are potentially looking at and could look at the double digits.
We have kids now that are too scared to post on social media because they're paranoid that, this could happen again.
Police are not saying what app was used or whether the images were created on a phone or computer. They say it doesn't matter if they're real, it's still a crime to create and distribute illegal images.
It is very predatory in nature to do something like this, and will be held accountable even if you're a kid yourself.
Police say there are significant gaps in education about new forms of exploitation.
When you start talking about AI nudes and sextortion and luring, you're talking about sex ed curriculum, and we have to opt into those things. So it is very challenging.
I think we are at the tip of the iceberg with investigations that involve artificial intelligence.
The province says students learn about consent, personal safety, and responsible digital behavior at schools. It also says it's working on ways to address emerging harms, such as deepfakes. Curtis Goodrum, CTV News, Edmonton.
An RCMP officer has been charged, accused of making threatening comments toward U.S. President Donald Trump. It's alleged Evanson Dumerlus made the comments in a Snapchat video while doing security for the 2025 G7 summit in Alberta. The 34-year-old officer from Quebec was overseeing security operations. They say an RCMP officer reported the video, and Dumerlus was removed from his duties the same day. He's charged with uttering threats. The city is introducing new steps to improve safety and inclusion for LGBTQ2S+ Edmontonians. More than $700,000 will go to businesses that promote LGBTQ2S+ initiatives. Developed through community input, the city's Safe Spaces Action Plan outlines ways to make public places more inclusive. That includes showing people they're welcome with murals promoting messages of inclusion, diversity, and belonging.
We have 7 different action areas that focus on a range of goals and objectives. So some of them will be around changes to physical spaces, so including more visible signs of inclusion, including through our community mural grant.
It's all the more important to make sure we're putting up those symbols, putting up the flag, creating spaces for folks to feel safe and included.
City business owners who complete the National Rainbow Registered Accreditation Program will also be eligible for rebates. For the first time ever, the Energy City Cactus Rats will host a game inside their home ballpark.
The league is focused in on getting that team that has been assembled to play games and to finish off this season.
During a hearing last night, the Western Canadian Baseball League's Board of Governors voted unanimously in favor of keeping the Cactus Rats in the WCBL. There are some conditions. The team must provide the league with weekly updates. They must also have their public messaging approved by the league for transparency, install working stadium lights, and continue working toward opening the ballpark to fans. The league's president does not know when that may happen.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this and say that we expect to have fans in 2 weeks. Or 4 weeks or 6 weeks. That in fact could happen. But I think what we want to see is progress happening on a regular basis.
The Cactus Rats face the Okotoks Dogs tonight. They'll host a 3-game series against the Fort McMurray Giants this weekend. Josh, a lot of people planning to play sports outside tonight. What does it look like out there?
Well, if you're inside the Henday, it's dry right now. We had some scattered showers and thunderstorms off and on through most of this afternoon. Just west of the city, we do have some showers in the Spruce Grove region, though. So you can see that's probably going to affect parts of west and southwest Edmonton here in the next hour or so. And if you zoom out a little bit more, there are some more cells back off to the northwest. So we're dry for the time being, but I don't think we're done with the precipitation just yet. It's not going to be nonstop rain all evening, but mid to late this evening especially, we'll probably see a few more showers push through. All in all, I mean, we've had thunderstorms today, and there have been some advisories, severe thunderstorm watches in the northwest and southwest, but a much quieter day overall than what we had yesterday. And I think tomorrow, again, it's going to be scattered showers and thunderstorms. Nothing really all that heavy or steady. 15 degrees downtown right now, 16s to the south and east of the city. Wind, not bad, about 10 to 15 kilometers per hour. Probably picks up a little bit through the course of the day tomorrow. We got to 18 for a daytime high today. In between the scattered showers and thunderstorms, should be in the same ballpark tomorrow. 21, the average daytime high. There's your chance of showers for this evening. Again, it's not going to be nonstop for the rest of tonight. For large chunks of this evening, you will actually be dry in the Edmonton area. 9 degrees tomorrow morning. I think we're dry for most of the morning hours, and then midday and through the afternoon, again, much like today, hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. Some sunshine on the way for Friday. We'll talk about that and look ahead to the weekend as well in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Still ahead, the price of a vote.
We're looking at the fall referendum costing something in the neighborhood of $120 to $130 million.
With an election on the horizon, some critics question the cost of sending Albertans to the polls twice in 2 years.
You're not going to solve that just by continually shooting bears. It just won't solve the problem.
And an update on a provincial plan allowing hunters to track and kill problem grizzlies.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
former Alberta chief electoral officer is putting a high price tag estimate on the upcoming referendum. He says the cost of the vote could run as high as $130 million due to so many ballot questions, inflation, and a ballooning workforce. CTV's Tim Brooke has details.
One of Alberta's former chief electoral officers has some sky-high cost estimates for October's referendum. 2023's election cost about $37 million. Lauren Gibson says better technology and automation should cut costs in 2026, but this referendum has 10 questions, so 10 times more ballots and ballot boxes than the general election. Elections Alberta has also upped the staffing requirements.
Assuming that we're looking at 60,000 people working in this referendum, that's 4.5 times the number in the last general election.
Gibson's math also accounts for inflation on those salaries and on ballot printing and building rentals.
So if you make those assumptions and consider those factors, we're looking at the fall referendum costing something in the neighborhood of $120 to $130 million.
I can tell you those seem extremely high.
Alberta's finance minister wouldn't give us a number, but he insists it's not that one.
So we'll make sure Elections Alberta has the resources to do the job that they need to do. But I can't see why a province-wide vote would cost any more than it would cost us to run a general election.
But if the price tag is that high, some believe the province should just call a general election too. Experts can't see that happening.
We have the potential for shovels in the ground for a pipeline in October of 2027 and an election in October 2027. That's the timeline that the government appears to be looking at.
And some don't have a problem with the potential cost, even those that are normally suspicious about government spending.
The ability for Albertans to have their say in a referendum or to recall a politician and hold by-elections, these are essential tools to a grassroots democracy. We'd like to see a lower price tag, but we don't want to see them gone.
Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
The province says licensed hunters have killed 4 grizzly bears under a new wildlife management policy. The program, brought in 2 years ago, allows hunters to apply to track and kill so-called problem bears. CTV's Carson Marsouk reports.
Sightings of grizzly bears in southwest Alberta may be on the rise.
Bears can be moving, changing their distributions, so we might see a perceived increase in the number of bears, but their population might not actually be increasing in numbers in earnest.
Which could lead to more encounters.
Most grizzly bear encounters do not end in conflict.
But for the ones that do, the provincial government will utilize its Wildlife Management Responder Network. Through the program, wildlife enforcement officers could call on Albertans with a recreational hunting license to track and kill the problem bear, while leaving officers to handle other wildlife issues. The province says a responder will only be sent out as a last resort. Since 2024, 4 grizzlies have been killed following incidents involving livestock, 2 near Pincher Creek and 1 south of Twin Butte.
The concern that we have surrounding the Wildlife Responder Network is ensuring that when the decision to be made to kill an animal, that it is coming from a space of knowledge and understanding about what's going on.
She wants to see DNA testing be complete to ensure the problem bear is euthanized along with preventative measures.
So sometimes, let's say a grizzly bear comes into close proximity with a chicken coop. There are things that can be done, such as electric fences.
Everett Hanna says some of the reasons for livestock conflicts is because grizzly bears evolved on the Great Plains and foothills of Alberta and often would hunt bison calves.
This day and age, people think of grizzly bears as like being up in the mountains, right? They're a mountain animal. They're only there because they've been pushed there, and that was their last refuge.
He says education around bears, reducing food enticements, and using guardian animals to protect livestock are the biggest ways to solving conflicts with grizzly bears.
They're either expanding or they're being attracted or both. And you're not going to solve that just by continually shooting bears. It just won't solve the problem.
Carson Marsouk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The province says a popular hiking trail in Canmore will remain closed for an extended period of time. Earlier this month, there was a rock slide on a trail in the Grassy Lakes area. A portion of the gravel road leading out of Canmore has been closed because of slope stability concerns. The province says it's working to secure a contractor for the highway repair work. In the meantime, people can access Highway 742 through Peter Lougheed Provincial Park. People will have another way to get to Jasper this summer. Flixbus is starting a seasonal route from Edmonton, leaving from either Southgate or downtown. The company says the route will leave once per day, Thursday through Monday. Bus trips start tomorrow. A quick look online shows the cost of a one-way ticket is $60. Coming up later this hour, a Lake Minnewanka mystery.
It's a fantastic opportunity to explore how they actually did that.
Visitors and an Alberta historian trying to fill in the holes with theories about an underground structure.
Now, just cloudy skies out there right now. No raindrops on the Skycam lens, but there are more showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Hey, how much rain has fallen so far in June, and when was the last time it was this wet to start June? We'll answer that and tell you how much more is coming right after the break.
Programming brought to you by K-Days. The best 10 days of summer are back. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
A group of devout English soccer fans in the Edmonton area caught their country's first win of the World Cup. Fans waving English flags at the Canadian Ice House as England scored against Croatia in Arlington, Texas. While the match is not an elimination game, it will set the tone for England's prospects of a deep World Cup run.
I mean, I want to say it's coming home. So let's just say we're going to lift the trophy. It's coming back. It's coming to London.
Fans got a taste of the home country as they sat through the grey skies and rain on the Ice House patio. England defeated Croatia 4-2. England last won the World Cup in 1966. And we will have live FIFA coverage of tomorrow's Canada versus Qatar game right here on CTV. That means our show is going to start a little late. We'll join you at 6:30 right here, right after the game.
Right after Canada wins.
Absolutely, that's right. Yeah. No, you don't need to say that. It's just,
it's a forecast. Yeah. It's a forecast, and that's what we do at this time in the newscast. Take a look outside right now. River Valley Sky Cam, 15 degrees. Cloudy skies, as we mentioned before the break, no raindrops on the lens right now, but we've had just over 100 millimeters of rain so far in June. Average for the entire month is about 70. Last year was close to that. 2024 was close to that. The last time it was this wet was actually back in 2023 and 2022. And in fact, this year, 2023, that 150 all came before June 20th. So, I mean, it was right on par with where we are this year. We're going to add significant amounts of rain to what has already come down, especially through the day Saturday. We'll get some more scattered showers and thunderstorms over the next couple of days, but Saturday into early Sunday morning, look at this bullseye around the Edmonton area, off to the west and to the northwest. Unless this system shifts north, if it goes south, we're still locked into heavy, steady rain. If it goes north, maybe we get a few breaks, but at this point, it looks like it is a steady soaker all day Saturday. Severe thunderstorm watch for the areas in yellow there to the north and off to the southwest. This gray zone, that weather statement's going to be ended fairly shortly. There was the potential for maybe 1 or 2 weak funnel clouds to pop up this afternoon. No real tornado threat. Had some thunderstorms here pushing through the Peace River region. As we said, Peace River and areas to the north under a severe thunderstorm watch. We don't have a watch for this area. We'll see what happens with these storms. Some of them are producing some heavier rain. Doesn't look like any hail coming off of them. You got some showers off to the south and southwest of the Edmonton area. To the west, you have some showers as well. And there's even a couple sprinkles there up further off to the northeast. I think you can see things kind of starting to spin there. I think everything's going to roll back in from the northwest. And so right around that area of low pressure, that little disturbance there, you're probably going to see some more showers off and on through the evening and the overnight period. There's your break tomorrow morning here in the Edmonton area. So much like today, between about 7 a.m. and noon, should be dry, cloudy with a few sunny breaks, and then around lunchtime and through the afternoon, it's back to some hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. Things start to dry up Thursday night. Skies clear out Friday. Pretty much all day we're under mainly sunny skies, and then Friday around supper time we get some increase in cloud cover. You have showers Friday afternoon popping up across the north, and we could see some of those scattered showers or thunderstorms Friday night out ahead of that heavier, steadier rain on Saturday. 19 Fort McMurray, 12 in Grand Prairie. Right now it's 15 in Edmonton after hitting that high of 18 earlier this afternoon. We'll be in the same ballpark tomorrow. 9 degrees in the morning, up to about 18 or 19 in the afternoon. Again, it's not going to rain all night tonight, but off and on. Showers and possibly a few thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. And Friday evening could see some thunderstorms. Temperatures will peak at about 23 on Friday. Cools off for the weekend, but that first week of summer still looks drier and warmer with highs back into the mid-20s by Tuesday, Wednesday.
Looks fantastic. Thank you, Josh. Still ahead on CTV News at 6, the changing Canadian population.
There's always more demand for the number of spaces than we have actual spaces in any given year.
What's led to a population drop so far this year, and
these governments all had sort of pieces of the puzzle about the Titans operation, but nobody managed to connect all of these pieces together.
Communication breakdown detailed in a new report about the Titan submersible disaster.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Your Morning Minute, presented by the Edmonton Elks Football Club. The Elks home opener is this Saturday. CEO Chris Morris joins us. Chris, what can fans expect?
I think the first thing they can expect is a great young football team. So we had the youngest football team in the league last year, and we just barely missed the playoffs. The same core group of guys are back with us. 80 to 90% of our roster are back, the same coaches. So we feel like this team is ready to take the next step and go forward. So I think from a football standpoint, there's going to be some quality. And then from a fan experience standpoint, if you think about families, start off in the tailgate zone, head off into the family zone, go run the obstacle course, have fun. There's face painting and clowns, all sorts of different things for families. And then go into the stadium and enjoy the game with your kids and your family as a whole. So I think it's a great experience.
That sounds awesome. Good luck to you and the team this Saturday. For more information, go to goelks.com.
There's been a change in the makeup of Canada's population, with fewer immigrants being admitted in the first quarter of the year. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver explores the implications and what's behind the decline.
Meet Kumar Pathak came to Canada from India 13 years ago as an international student looking for new opportunities. In the years since, he's become a Canadian citizen and a business owner. But for many of his friends, the ending hasn't been as happy.
A lot of my close friends, a lot of my relatives, that they are going back to India because they cannot have the right opportunity here and the right time, So it's very tough, very, very tough right now in Canada for immigrant.
According to Statistics Canada, the population dipped by about 55,000 people in the first 3 months of 2026. A big reason, a 20% drop in the number of permanent immigrants from around 104,000 in Q1 of 2025 to just over 83,000 in Q1 of 2026. A reflection, immigration lawyers say, of the federal government's lower immigration targets and longer processing times.
There's always more demand for the number of spaces than we have actual spaces in any given year. However, I do see a sea change happening because we're starting to see now that people are looking elsewhere other than Canada for their career opportunities and their futures.
Those immigration cuts mean the arrival of newcomers is no longer propping up population growth that continues to be dragged down by declining fertility rates.
Canada as a country, we've been experiencing declining fertility for the past few decades. The baby boom was a blip in terms of that increased fertility level. Since then, we've been on that downward trajectory.
If this trend continues, economists say that economic growth could be impacted. Statistics Canada says this is all based on preliminary data and that final updates will be available in September. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
A parliamentary committee is recommending against the expansion of medical assistance in dying, or MAID, for those suffering from mental health issues.
MAID should never be made available for people with mental illness. I say that as someone who is himself a suicide survivor and might not be here had the expansion that's set to come into law been on the books 15 years ago.
Conservative and Liberal MPs on the committee co-signed the recommendation in a report released today. People with a mental illness as their sole underlying condition may become eligible to apply for MAID next March. Justice Minister Sean Fraser says he'll review the report and the testimony the committee heard before deciding how to respond. The UCP government introduced a bill in March putting limits on MAID, including mental illness as a sole condition. Prime Minister Mark Carney is returning from the G7 summit without having had an official one-on-one with U.S. President Trump. He is giving insight into his interactions with the president and his reaction to the tentative peace deal between the U.S. and Iran. CTV's Michael Couture has more.
He had asked me about it on China.
Prime Minister Mark Carney explaining the hot mic moment captured at yesterday's G7 summit, confirming he was explaining the details to President Donald Trump about Canada's deal to allow Chinese EVs into the country.
And he likes the structure, actually. We had a follow-up conversation about it as well.
Carney says the two leaders had several conversations, but none of them included the CUSMA renewal. One of the bigger discussions at the G7 was the Iran deal. In a joint statement, leaders agreed there is a need to diversify trade routes to prevent choke points for energy supply chains, as we saw with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. The statement also says, quote, "We welcome the potential for Canada to deliver significant additional capacity to global markets in the coming years." Carney says there are a number of projects and plans, both online and in the works.
There's other European offtakes in the work for Canadian LNG, and then as well, expansion of TMX, the oil pipeline.
Back in Ottawa, Conservatives had this reaction to that proposal.
This is evolving a little bit. It needs to evolve a lot faster than it has. It's a great resource we have in Canada. The whole world knows it's a great resource. It's been constrained by bad government policy.
Carney also described the Iran deal as a game changer, as he feels Trump's view of the war in Ukraine is shifting.
Change in orientation, a more realistic, in our view, expectation of where this war was going to go, and the position against Russia, the tightening of sanctions against Russia, the ability to provide additional defensive support for Ukraine.
The G7 leaders also agreed to consider giving Ukraine the critical licenses to increase domestic military production for things like missiles. It's something that President Volodymyr Zelensky has been asking for since last year. Mike Couture, CTV News, Evian, France.
A U.S. judge says Luigi Mangione will go for a psychiatric defense in his state murder trial. The judge says Mangione's lawyers will say he was suffering from extreme emotional disturbance when United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was shot in New York City in 2024. If a jury agrees, it could convict him of the lesser charge of manslaughter. Canada's Transportation Safety Board is slamming a lack of regulatory oversight in a new report on the Titan submersible disaster. The craft imploded 3 years ago near the Titanic wreck site, killing 7 people. CTV's Garrett Barry has more.
One of the things we've learned today is just how much correspondence there was between OceanGate officials and various government agencies. Some correspondence went back for years, but despite all of that contact, key information did not make its way to regulators at Transport Canada.
In July 2021, during one of many missions of the Titan submersible that began in Canada, a DFO representative boarded the cargo vessel Horizon Arctic to observe the mission. That representative wrote back to others at DFO with serious concerns. The Titan sub was never certified by a regulatory body. It used a rare carbon fiber construction, and OceanGate had no insurance.
We have no evidence that those concerns were provided to Transport Canada. They were raised internally within the Department of Fisheries and Oceans.
One of many communication breakdowns highlighted by the Transportation Safety Board in a report released today.
These governments all had sort of pieces of the puzzle about the Titan's operation, but nobody managed to connect all of these pieces together and be able to essentially identify the nature of that operation and the risks that it presented.
The report also highlights testing and construction failures that contributed to the disaster. Worldwide attention came to St. John's when cargo ship Polar Prince lost contact with the Titan in June 2023. But for its top headline, TSB wrote that OceanGate received almost no oversight, despite a series of dives and tests working with Canadian vessels over the course of 2 years.
The TSB makes it clear that this isn't a totally unique situation. There are lots of small commercial vessels across the country that do not see oversight by Transport Canada. The board wants authorities at Transport Canada to start making a new policy that would capture some of those small but risky vessels. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Still ahead, reunited after 70 years.
It's really happening. It's really, that's you.
Sisters separated as toddlers during the 60s scoop meet for the first time.
Programming brought to you by K-Days. The best 10 days of summer are back.
Checking on today's market numbers, the Canadian dollar closed near 71 cents US. Oil was up 74 cents, closing right near $76 a barrel. Gold is up $27. On the stock markets, the TSX is down 264 points, the Dow Jones down 507. Edmonton's mayor says he'd like to make it easier for local businesses to set up patios. The city was planning to charge bars and restaurants up to $7,000 for a year-round permit for a sidewalk patio. It was supposed to help cover the cost deficit left by the elimination of photo radar revenue. Andrew Knack told CTV Your Morning anchor Kent Morrison that he didn't know the fees would have a pile-on effect.
What I was unaware of is that on top of that, there were a number of encroachment fees. I heard from one patio operator who was told that alongside the $7,000 charge, they were required to pay an additional $70,000 for their patio. And that was not my understanding of how we were going to do this. I was comfortable with one small charge, not trying to essentially nickel and dime patios to death.
Knack says city administration is working to address the fees this year and come up with another plan going forward. Two sisters met for the first time in Strathmore after being separated when they were young. One had been waiting for the moment for a lifetime. The other, a 60s scoop survivor, didn't realize was coming until a few months ago. CTV's Tyler Barrow has more.
This is a day Marie Miller never knew was coming, but one she had always wanted.
Oh my God, look at you. Oh my goodness.
The 71-year-old is embracing her 72-year-old sister, Sally Tripp, the two meeting for the first time.
I can't let go of her. She's not going home. If she's going home, I'm going with her. It's really happening. It's really, that's you.
The sisters were born in Winnipeg and are members of the Pegasus First Nation. Tripp, seen here shortly after she was born in 1953 with her mother, but she put them both into adoptive care before the girls even turned 2. Their father rescued them, but authorities only let him keep Tripp. Miller was later taken from her grandmother's hands and placed in a foster home. She was part of the 60s scoop, now counts herself a survivor like other Indigenous children who were forcibly removed from their homes. Miller remembers the unpleasant childhood.
They were not very kind to me growing up at all. They were very standoffish toward me.
Tripp always knew she had a sister and never gave up looking for her.
We are looking for her all over Selkirk and everything, and we looked in all over Manitoba.
Miller lives in Calgary and struggled for years to connect with her birth family via adoption records and papers. It was modern technology that did the trick. DNA testing from Ancestry.ca led her to a cousin.
Told me, she said, "Do you know you have a sister?" I said, "Well, give me her number, please."
On January 17th, the two talked for the first time over the phone for hours, leading to this moment of a lifetime.
I always dreamt of having a sister. To find her after all this time, and the sad part is she didn't know she had a family.
The sisters will continue to make up for lost time. On June 28th, a family reunion will be held in Selkirk.
I can't wait. I've got the camper packed.
While there, they will visit their mother's gravesite together. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
Canada Post is honoring 3 Indigenous sports leaders whose legacies extend far beyond the field of play. New stamps feature six-time Stanley Cup winner Brian Trottier, as well as Edward Lenny. He's known as the father of the Northern Games. The third stamp shows Chief Wilton Littlechild. Littlechild competed in multiple sports around the world before becoming a lawyer and eventually an MP. He says the sport gave him a way to move forward after surviving a residential school. Still ahead, theories from historians and visitors about a mystery in Banff.
Definitely got goosebumps right now thinking about that. You know, there's so much energy in the mountains here.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Historians are weighing in with theories on a mysterious underground structure found near Banff's Lake Minnewanka. CTV's Moses Woldu has more.
Amid the scenic backdrop, the shore on Lake Minnewanka has unearthed a glimpse into its past. Last month, Parks Canada responded to the ground collapsing by the beach area. The cause, according to Parks Canada, is a failure of a roof of an unknown underground structure. They say it possibly dates back before the 1950s or 60s. Parks will now proceed to stabilize and restore the site using environmental and safety protocols. But what's exposed is untreated wood, including log walls and rough-cut planks. Historians at the White Museum say they've seen discoveries such as trapper cabins in the park, but nothing like this.
The fact that they had a local quarry there, we like to think that this was just like a sub-basement of something that was raked over with building material after construction cut. But we think it's a really cool find, and we're really looking forward to seeing where Parks goes with it. Such a fabulous snapshot in time.
While there are no photos specifically detailing what the structure on the shore of Lake Minnewanka is, Kate Reardon has her thoughts.
The fact that they had a local quarry there, we like to think that this was just like a sub-basement of something that was raked over with building material after construction cut. But we think it's a really cool find.
Those we spoke to in nearby Banff are also intrigued by the findings.
Definitely got goosebumps right now thinking about that. You know, there's so much energy in the mountains here.
If we could go see it, that'd be sweet. Do you think we could open a dive shop or something and do some tours?
There were some visitors looking to take a peek, staying behind the caution tape. There was also partial fencing around that area and further fencing that's being put up along the trails. In the meantime, people are asked to stay well clear of the area.
Some scattered showers off and on through the rest of tonight. We'll see a mix of sun and cloud for tomorrow. Midday and in the early afternoon hours could see a few more hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. 23 sunny on Friday. Then Friday evening, chance of thunderstorms and heavy, steady rain all day Saturday, right into Sunday morning. I think after that, then things will start to turn around next week. But yeah, it looks like a real soaker on the way for Saturday.
But the start of summer.
Hey, next week, nice big upper ridge settles in. Should be mid to high 20s by the middle of next week.
We'll take it and we'll love it. Thanks, Josh. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Quick reminder, once again, we are starting this show at 6:30 tomorrow night after the Canada versus Qatar game right here on CTV. Hope to see you then. Good night.